Jeff Westfall back, continuing with shadow kicking combination number 2. Today we're going to go over some of the details of the earliest part of it. Now, if you watched my nearly 63-year-old execution of the first few motions on this, you might have been a little puzzled. It looked like I'm fumbling around with my legs down here, not doing anything. Let me explain the motions that I did and why they're in that order. First of all, you need to understand this basic left kick from Muay Thai. It's called a left kick usually because an orthodox fighter with his left leg in front usually uses it, and its single most common target is the inner thigh. Now you see Muay Thai fighters and you see UFC fighters kicking to the outer thigh a lot. This is usually because the opponent has made a mistake and given them that target. In my normal kicking structure, it's hard to find an angle on this. But if I step forward into a boxing structure, I'm letting you see my iliotibial band. That's that tissue that you really want to hit with an outside kick. So usually, the kicking structure offers a shot at the inside leg, but you usually think you're far enough away that they can't do it. In any case, no matter what the case is, within Muay Thai, the idea here is I want to land this on this target with my shin, something like this. That's what I want to land, and ideally that's going right here. Boom! That's a pretty nice shot. It's designed, let me go over the switching motion. I'm in a kicking structure with my weight back. My base foot's at about a 45-degree angle. My front leg can be a little turned out. It can be rotated at any angle, but it's tapping. It's gently holding a very tiny fraction of my weight occasionally. What I'm going to do here, I'm actually too far away where I'm standing to effectively hit because I'm only going to hit with my toes. So I'm going to need to travel a little bit, and I travel by making my rear foot go a little forward. We usually call this a switch. Some people call it the quick switch. The switch is designed essentially to turn what is your lead leg momentarily into your rear leg. I can't tell you how many people I've described this to verbally and they go, oh yes, like this. You know, and while that's possible, it's certainly plausible that some opponents would allow you to switch like that and kick them. It's way too easy to see coming. You need a small motion. The smaller the motion, the faster you can go right into your kick. It goes ta-ta with a very quick rhythm like that. My Muay Thai teacher, Surachai Sirasud, or Ajahn Chai as we call him, when I first met him, let's see, this was 1986, he was about 40, about 39. And he was at that point in his career and in his life so fast with this kick that I could only barely visually pick it up as he was throwing it. And he always insisted he was much slower than he had once been. But it was almost impossible to see this kick of his coming to my inner thigh. And I'm never going to achieve his speed, especially as I'm aging, but I've really worked hard on being efficient with this motion. So there's not a lot of visual telegraphing before you throw the kick. So you can sneak this in on a lot of people who think you're too slow to catch them and think they're a little too far away by virtue of this simple, quick motion right into your kick. So when it's done shadow fighting style, it often looks like this lame, weird, stumbling thing. And in reality, it's a legit and serious fighting technique. Now, in my combination that I showed you in 2.0, I did not use the most common follow-up to this. The most common follow-up, or at least my most favored follow-up, is this. If I found a home for this kick on my opponent's inner thigh, I know I've already hit him twice with it. What frequently happens if I'm getting in his head is he starts to do this when he sees the kick coming. Watch my head drop and my leg open out. So from the side, here, when I lift that leg out, my head dips. That's the perfect timing to kick him in the head. So my favorite application of this, I'll see if I can do this without crashing into the wall, because I wanted to use the bag, I've got a narrow aperture here, is I do the kick a few times, And then the next time I switch, I let my switch act as a fake, even though I don't hesitate. And I kick him in the head. And the kick doesn't have to be a round kick like this. It's more of a diagonal kick because he's literally ducking into your punting motion. So it can even be as simple as just kicking that straight up that way and it will land. But I usually like to turn a little bit, give it a little diagonal angle. That throws more hip into the kick and catches him harder in the head. So that's usually how I follow up this little switch kick. But in today's combination, what I'm imagining is I throw the first one just to try to hit it. He dances out of range. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, he likes to stay outside this kick. Let's see if he does it again. So when you watch the video, you'll notice I go 1, then I do it a second time. The second time, the opponent backs out and comes right back in again. He's hoping to follow my kick back in and hit me. So that's why my second little sequence after the first normal kick is I either fake or throw the kick to get a response, then I put it down, I catch him on the knee as he's stepping in. So as he steps in, my oblique kick is catching him on his thigh or his knee right here. So again, my first kick, either I caught him or he danced out of the way. My second inner thigh kick, he makes me miss and starts to step in. So what you do is you switch and then go right off to your other leg. So from this leg, while this kick is coming up into the target or missing, you simply step down with it and fire right into your oblique kick. Now let's talk about the oblique kick a little bit. This is a much misunderstood kicking motion, and it's further misunderstood because different arts do it subtly differently. And none of them are wrong or right, they just have different ways of doing it. So for example, Savate has a tendency to use almost a sweeping motion to come out and then thrust the weight. Coup de pied bas is one of the names for it, which literally means hitting with your foot low. In Wing Chun, there's a tendency to make it a little more of a thrusting motion, have a chambering action, and a thrust. But again, everyone's a little different athletically, so sometimes a Wing Chun guy might look like a Savate guy throwing it. And in some of the Southeast Asian arts, you'll actually see a chamber this way, this weird internal rotation of my hip, allowing me to snap. And especially if I'm wearing a shoe, I'm hitting with this border on the inside of the sole of my foot and cracking that into his shin. So you'll see people come in and snap that way, the snapping motion, instead of a thrusting motion. So you can have a sweeping lift and then a thrust, which has got a lot in common with the Muay Thai teep. You can cock it up, which allows you to hesitate and thrust. And you can snap it. Any of those is fine when you do the oblique kick. But that's the kick that's coming in to my opponent's knee. So I could have come in that way, I could have thrusted with a chamber, and I could have lifted it up and thrusted. Any of those would be fine. So anyway, that takes care of the first little sequence on my video. And next time I'll describe some of the rest of it for you.